Yeah, I realize these people got to be the most dumbest box of rock MFers there are that exist on this planet for them to continue to do the same stuff over and over again and think that it's still going to work when they clearly see that everything they're doing is forcing us to gain more information and insight on what's going on, and they steady keep doing like, well, maybe if we keep on doing it, they'll go back to sleep and be dumb again like we are. Because they've got to be dumb. And then that's when it dawned on me, that's why they had to put the world under a trance hypnotically, by taking them, like entertaining them with a hypnotic entertainment, hypnosis, and putting people under a spell with the symbolism and, you know, all the other witchcraft that they do, subliminally, hypnotically, put you in a hypnotic trance when you watch a movie. And yes, it'd be entertaining. And it's funny because now that I think, not it's funny, it's actually very, like, I was gonna say degrading. I know I was gonna say degrading in a way, but that's why I'm starting to think maybe the people aren't even humans. Maybe they're different species or entities. For example, when I said that there was a time where I have come into contact with 3 Pleadians, and they don't ever show their teeth when they smile at me. They don't say a word. They always just look at me. They never say a word. In fact, the only time I think I heard one say something was, "You're welcome." And that was it. And then I thought they were good, but they actually weren't. And that's why, catch this part, John Eckhart, a prophet or a pastor, I believe he's a prophet, I don't know, I can't remember, but I be saying his prayers. Sometimes I tweak them, because even though some people might see me as trifling, I still know, give honor to the Most High God, and I talk to him about, my ways and how I am and what I need help on here and there, about, because I know I'm not perfect. And anyways, I just wanted to add that the fact that in his prayer that he put in those prayers, it dawned on me. It was a prayer against Pleiades, which is, I believe, the planet for the Pleadians, where they come from. He said a prayer specifically against Pleiades. And it dawned on me, because I was like, those people that I see that look like white people, they're very pale. And they be having sometimes really light blonde hair. It almost looked gray, platinum blonde sometimes. But it's in it too. I saw 3 children. One was looking like a child, but he might have been like an adult. But he was going out by himself at the other apartment where I used to live. But anyway, sorry I got distracted on that Pleadian story, because I was going to say something about that. Of course, people aren't going to believe this when I say it, so that's why I kind of just say it. They can just take it as entertainment, however you choose to. But for him to say that prayer about against Pleiades, it had to be a reason. And that prayer right there is what made me dig deeper into finding out more about the Pleiadians that I had contact with. Because they just came up on me, and they would just look at me and smile. They would not do anything else. Only one of them, the last encounter I had, which was about 3 months ago, he held the door open for me when I was coming in there, because I thought I was already thinking, but he probably heard my thoughts, because I was like, oh, don't tell me it's another one of them, because it's always like a gang stalker. I thought it was a gang stalker, but then he was polite. He left out of the door, but then he came back and unlocked it for me and held the door open. And I said, oh, thank you. And I was like, he was a polite young man. And then it dawned on me, I said, he looks kind of short. He almost looked like he was about between the ages of 10 and 13, 10 and 12 years old. I was like, where's he going with a bag and some keys, and he heading out by himself like this time of night? And then I just tried to say a prayer, because I was like, look like a young boy. Maybe he's about to be picked up from someone. And even though it's not my child, but I'm like, I would want someone to be concerned for any child that they see out and about by themselves. Not like how some of these street people do. They take advantage of them and make them become a goon. That's pitiful. But, anyways, the reason why I started talking about that, though, is because I was thinking about maybe the people that's at the top, that's controlling stuff, had to put people in a trance so that the dumb stuff that they keep using for the past 30 years can continue to work. And that's why they mad people start to wake up, because that same old spell ain't working no more. They put like, no. And then God probably said, you thought you was slick, didn't you? I gave you all kind of time to do what you was doing. You thought you was controlling something, didn't you? But yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, about these people that's doing all this wickedness, basically. This unnecessary wickedness at that. Like, they got to be some creatures or something, because the stuff they be doing, what you doing rituals with children for? What is that? Like, I don't get it. I feel like people should allow children to be children. Then when it's time for them to get older, that's when maybe you can start introducing them to like intercourse and the education of all that stuff. It's a sad shame that we got to teach kids about that stuff now, because there's people, you never know who they gonna come into contact with at whatever age, and like take advantage of them. So at least you like they got it in the schools where they're teaching people about sex, but they ain't teaching them about finances. And like how they should have a lifestyle 101 class where they teach kids like how it's going to be. Because I heard stories about 8-year-old boys having to go out in the streets and be a man at that age. And the stuff that they had to do, the experience, they grew up faster and matured in certain ways that old 60-some-year-old man never matured, because they didn't have to live and see and do the things that those 8-year-old boys had to grow up doing. And it's like, kind of shows. But yeah, it's unfortunate that has to happen. But, you know, that maybe that's why some younger people be more mature than some of these old behind people. But really what I was trying to say is that the witchcraft and the subliminal hypnosis is not working anymore. It's still working on people, but I'm just saying, like, people are waking up. And the reason why I started talking about this, though, was due to the fact that it seems like they still trying the same old tactics, expecting for them to work, and it's not. They're not working anymore. And so, basically, what I was leading up to, sorry, I had to remember where the point I was trying to get to, which was, like, how all of a sudden Mr. Diddy, Mr. Sean Combs, is in his little karma cycle now. I was just speaking out loud, saying that that's how it's going to be for the people. Like, they're going to wake up one day and they're going to see, like, all the stuff that they thought that they did ahead of time to stop them from experiencing karma. They're going to see how it almost helped it play right out the way it was supposed to. And there was nothing that they can do about it. Just like when Diddy time came, there's nothing he could do about all that truth getting out. And I was just sitting in here in the car saying out loud, because I know that they got my car tapped, where they can hear me. And it's happened numerous times where people come and stand by the car and they hear it, they respond, they nod their head, saying, you know, in response to things I'm saying about me seeing them all of a sudden. So, with the windows up. So the thing is, I was thinking, like, they're not going to be able to stop that. Just like Diddy, when his time came, at that moment, I was thinking, I was like, did he stop all of a sudden eating somebody booty out? Because I don't think that's what it is. He just probably has, in a way, I kind of slightly, even though he does some really icky, cruel, wicked things, I wonder what happened to him for him to be the way he is. Because, damn, for you to be doing that stuff for 30 years and think it's okay, he has to be numb and he don't have any emotions. He has to be, like a lady said, psychopathic. He don't have any emotions anymore. Or something like that for him to do what he was doing and be fine with it. And what I started to say was, maybe since 30 plus years have passed since that stuff had taken place, some of these crooked FBI agents and police officers and all these other people who so-called have these state labels of their titles. I meant to say state titles and government titles. They got old, and some of them probably couldn't live with what they were, the information that they had inside. Like, after people started waking up from a spell, I feel like somehow, some way, something leaked out, and that's like somebody couldn't take it no more. It started with someone being tortured mentally or spiritually, and not like somebody sending something at them like witchcraft, but maybe ancestors coming after somebody. Or somebody passed over and the right one passed over, and now all this information is getting out because that person is working behind the scenes. Could have been Prince, but as somebody else. I don't know. I feel like it's something like that. Like it's something that happened to somebody who was in the know circle of all that stuff. And somehow, some way, something got leaked out finally. Somebody burst. They couldn't hold it in no more. Or something happened where they shared the information and then it went from one person to the next. And then the information got out. Or Diddy did something that finally pissed off one of the so-called higher ups, that they finally let his stuff get exposed, or they gave him a time limit. Because, like, how in the world did he get away with that for 30 years? Taking money from people. I feel bad for Danity Kane now. They saying they was working for 7 years straight, free. Going to shows, all that stuff. You can go listen to their story, but that's like slavery. That's slavery. And all this came from me realizing that part of their energy harvesting might be like how the reason why they have to sneak and kill people and make it look like an accident is possibly because of them trapping the spirit. I accidentally said soul. I don't know if it's the soul or the spirit that they can capture, but I hear about some people not fully crossing over the way they supposed to. And then I thought about the work that Miss Neoshi does, the Hypno lady, Neoshi Hypno. You could please check out her channel. I didn't find out about her until a few months ago, maybe about maybe 6 months ago now, might be a little less than that, but yeah. And I realized the work she does is kind of like the people going to their past life self and setting themselves free from the death that happened when no one didn't know the truth. But there's like, I feel like in a way, the reason why I thought about that is because of something that happened in 2022, where it seemed like by me solving some deaths of people who I didn't even know personally, some of them I did know personally, but the ones that I didn't know personally, it's like spiritually those people were free because someone in the living realm helped solve the crime. Even just the truth being spoken out into existence, it was witnessed somehow, and it's like that itself was enough. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's what happened back in 2022. And then they orchestrated for me to be put in the psychiatric hospital when I had a book where I had literally written down all of these crimes that happened, all these deaths, these sacrificial rituals that people did. And then that's when I started to see how sick and twisted this world was because of the deaths. And you want to know how it happened? It happened from me suddenly hearing voices of people in my house all of a sudden. I'm like, where the heck did they come from? I heard a woman's voice say, yeah, or something. I was like, I don't need nobody else agreeing with me in the house. It's just me and my son. Imagine that, guys. Imagine that. And that's how it all started. For about 3 months, I was writing down, helping whoever these people were solve their deaths. The one that really sticks out to me is how, unfortunately, so a woman was unalive when she was sleeping in her car, and there was like an exhaust. Her car was on. She fell asleep with the car on, and somehow, some way, they made it appear like there was a house fire. But what happened? I saw the truth. Somebody led gasoline from the exhaust pipe to something that was in the house. I heard, shut up. Nope. I heard it led into the house, and the house fire that happened was to cover up the intentional unaliving of the woman who was sleeping in her car. And it was a Caucasian woman. I saw her, and she was in an old school car. To me, in the vision, it looked like it was a blue old school, like it looked kind of like a matte rusty looking blue. But she was sleeping in the car outside her house. She fell asleep. Somehow, I believe it was the dryer. Somehow a spark or something from the dryer in the house was intentionally put outside the cord. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how they did it, but the main part I remember is the fire, the spark igniting the gasoline on the ground, the trail that led to the car, the exhaust pipe, and the car blew up. It was something on the inside, however they did it on the inside of the car. It blew up the car into flames, and I think the car was locked, and she couldn't get out of the car. Dang, but it may not have been law. It's just the fact that she woke up being consumed by flames. So, and it was worse stories than that, but that's the story that stood out the most, because I see how some movies actually talk about some of these deaths that they know had happened, but they put it in a movie. And I guess they do that. That's part of the spell that's being cast for somebody to be hypnotized by it, to, I was going to say decompress, but to desensitize them to something like that happening. And then that's why people be saying their life sounds like a movie, because the movies be getting it from what be happening in real life, unfortunately. I think that's enough for here. I'll stop here and then share more later. Thanks, guys. I hope this was helpful.